because if not, you just lose them if you throw them in the deep end. And that's what I think a lot of people end up doing. It's like they go out there and just like no code, I want to learn no code, and then they go on a website and it's like a 4-hour video showing you how to build Airbnb. And it's intimidating, frankly. If we want to bring people in this space who are not from this space, we have to be inclusive. We have to break it down. We have to stop alienating people because they don't have experience in the tech world. And we have to stop acting like this lingo that we use is super complex, right? So now let's transition. Now that you've made this parallel, let's transition and talk a little bit about no code, because you're one of those people who basically has been playing around, building things, not really understanding that these were no code tools necessarily, but have always been found a way to creatively solve problems. And if I'm correct, lately you've kind of gotten into building software with no-code tools. So tell us about that experience. Like how, what was, first of all, why did you do it? And second of all, what did it feel like, that moment when you realized like, wow, I can do this myself?
Yeah, so I mean, I've always been interested in business, and I guess starting my own business. And so ever since I was young, had ideas that I wanted to execute on. And often they just stayed as ideas. And I remember I read, gosh, it was probably 10, 12 years ago now. I read The 4-Hour Workweek. And,
Tim Ferriss.
Tim Ferriss. And if you've ever read that, he says, kind of, if you're starting a business, just put a website up there and, have it as a one-page website and a landing page. And here's where you go to kind of create this landing page, and then test whether people are going to come to it. And if they don't, then move on to the next business idea. And so that was kind of, I think, my first introduction to let's build something quickly and test it, but that I didn't need to be, I didn't need to have a degree in engineering, in software engineering to do that. So just started iteratively. And I think one of the biggest kind of commonalities in a lot of early founders is that we're curious people who want to solve problems, and we will tinker. So, I think you have to have that mentality where, oh, I want to hook this up to Facebook. How do I do that? Let me Google it. Let me find it out. Let me read a forum. Great. Somebody did it this way. Kind of you're a gatherer of information, and then, you execute on top of that. And so that's just kind of been my mode, is I forage for information, and without even realizing that this was kind of a no-code technique, to string together the entire experience that I wanted to build. More recently, that. I mean, yeah, go for it.
No, I was just going to say that it sounds like it all ties together also with like this idea of education, and also driven by curiosity, right?
Definitely. Yeah. I mean, it's just a DIY kind of ethic is something that I've always had. I think it comes from my dad. I mean, some people are amazing at getting other people to do stuff for them. Other people want to just kind of figure it out themselves before they get other people to do stuff for them. I'm one of those kind of, I want to figure it out. So give me a problem and I'll, so our head of engineering actually came to me and said, have you heard of this thing called Webflow? I think it would be awesome if we built all of our marketing pages in Webflow, because our time as engineers is super precious, and we should really be working on some of the adaptivity and, kind of the backbone of the actual system, and making sure that students have an amazing experience. And, you guys are going to be changing all the copy and the value propositions and doing all these tests. What if we made all of our kind of marketing pages, landing pages, and everything through Webflow? And initially, honestly, I was a little bit hesitant. I was like, oh, that seems like more work for me. I've got a lot of stuff to do, because I usually take on all the design stuff. And I mean, I've used a lot of drag and drop website builders over the years. So I've used Weebly, I've used Wix, I've used all the Squarespace, WordPress, all the open source solutions. And I always found them frustrating because there wasn't enough. I couldn't fine tune them enough. They were good enough, but they were never able to kind of take that next step to really execute on the vision that I had in my head. But started thinking about it and thinking about that, where should we put our resources and where should we put our money? Mm-hmm. And, got a trial of Webflow and started playing with it and was just blown away. Yeah, I mean, I just really, there's kinks in it. We're having some issues with it, to be honest, and it is taking a little bit of our engineering time to connect back with our APIs and, do a lot of kind of the sophisticated tracking we want to do. But yeah, it's so quick for me to put something up and test it. I just started 2 new Facebook campaigns yesterday that are going to their own unique landing pages so that we can test things. And yeah, I think it's probably just speed to learning.
Yeah, that's definitely one of the no-code tools that we also really enjoy. Like every no-code tool, it really has its limitations. I always say that like every specific solution you're trying to develop has a different stack. And so thinking that like you have to find the tool is not always the approach. It's more about understanding like what are the what are the different things that you require within your tech. With Webflow, some of the limitations and some of the direction that they are taking is to move into these kind of web apps and eventually mobile apps as well. I know that Vlad's talked about it. But I think that, it's such a great way to get people started. Specifically, I think to get people excited about the ability that they have to take the reins a little bit and to believe in themselves almost. It's kind of like, one of the things that I understand in my business is that getting people to be excited about what they're doing in terms of learning no code, it really, in this world, which is incredibly sort of dopamine fueled, right? So it's kind of like everyone needs to get that like feedback of like, you're doing a great job, here's a pat on the back. And I feel like we always start people off on more simple no code tools so that they can sort of get that feeling of like, oh, wow, I can actually do this. And then you slowly bring them into the deeper and deeper waters of the complexities and how deep you want to go of building with no code. Because if not, you just lose them. If you throw them in the deep end, and that's what I think a lot of people end up doing. It's like they go out there and just like no code, I want to learn no code. And then they go on a website and it's like a 4-hour video showing you how to build Airbnb. And it's intimidating, frankly. If we want to bring people in this space who are not from this space, we have to be inclusive. We have to break it down. We have to stop alienating people because they don't have experience in the tech world. And we have to stop acting like this lingo that we use is super complex, right?
Yeah.
And that's what I'm a big endorser of, is like, hey, like, this is a huge empowering tool. And I think that what you've been building as well, it has the same effect on people, right? And that's where
you've touched on something really fundamental, which is about this sense of progress. And, that's it, right? Like when you throw me into a 4-hour, let's build Airbnb, I'm not at that 70% perfect, this is challenging me just enough, but it's not so hard that I want to quit. Like it has to be at the level that you're at, and then you can scaffold and build on it.
That is a great quote, what you just said. Can you repeat that?
It's about that kind of perfect amount of difficulty, because you want to be stretched. If it's too easy, you're going to quit. If it's too hard, you're going to quit. But if you get it just right, then you can keep on learning and keep on scaffolding and keep on building. And that's how you ultimately become better at what you do. So